Good? Yes. What's up, guys? Thank you guys so much for coming out. Recap of the night, man. Goiti Yamauchi is a very, very, very tough individual. He had me a little bit puzzled on the feet. He's longer and rangier than I thought. We expected that, but we were able to land some good stuff. Coaches were great in the corner. Coaches were coaching me up exactly how we practice in camp to mitigate that distance, and then on the ground you saw what happened. So it was great. I think it's been hard for me to get up for certain fights when there's not danger involved, and Goiti definitely presented a large test on the ground, and we went out there and shut him down and did a good job on the ground. So just want to thank my coaches, thank my training partners, thank my family, and all y'all for coming out. It's a phenomenal night. So thank you guys so much. Any questions?
Yeah, Mike, as you said, I mean, it ended up being a very dominant win for you, but it certainly wasn't easy along the way. So, I mean, can you talk about maybe any adjustments you had to make, and overall, are you satisfied with how you performed in the end?
Yeah, I am actually. I was just telling somebody over there, since they changed the scoring and now that they're more liberal with the 10-8s and the 10-7s, you know. I was very jealous a couple months ago. I saw somebody get some 30-25s and 30-26s, and I was like, dang, I want to do that. So whenever they're reading the scorecards, I was actually extremely happy. It almost was more satisfying than if I would have TKO'd him, you know, to have those scorecards and people can look it up and see. But yeah, I mean, I'm satisfied. My knees hurt like heck because they're freaking they're raw from just being on top and doing damage. But like I said, he is tough. I mean, we're all so tough at this level. And like I said, he presented some very good tests, distance-wise, speed, tenacity. He was talking to me in there. I was talking to him. He was taunting me. I was taunting him. It was fun. I can honestly say I actually had a blast tonight, and I don't usually do that. A lot of times I black out, go Michael Chandler style, 100,000 miles an hour, and sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. But tonight was a lot of fun, and great crowd. We were on CMT and Paramount Network, so it was just awesome card altogether, and I feel extremely blessed.
I was going to ask you about the conversations. We could see you mouthing to each other in there. What were those conversations like? What was being said?
Yeah, it was just, you know, he would kick me. Like, he knew he hit me with a hard knee to the body, and he kind of gave me the whole, like, oh, that hurt, you know. And I hit him with the right hand, and I was stalking him, like, come on, where you going? Where you going? You know, because he did a very good job of evading. Man, it's not many guys will come forward on me and fight me on my terms because they know they're going to get knocked out or finished. So a lot of guys have to circle, they have to move, they have to use their footwork, they have to use their distance, and he was doing a great job of that. He's an extremely talented young man. And when I say young man, young in age but experienced in the fight game. He's got more fights than I do. So we're going to see a lot from him coming forward. And I also said after the fight, man, I'm probably going to see you again. You know, let's do it again. Work on that ground game.
Nice. And last thing for me, I mean, you made it clear before the fight, title fight's not really what you're thinking about. So I want to ask you first, I mean, is that because of your personal feelings for the champ? And second, what fights are out there? You said big fights, but are there specific names? Are there matchups that you see right now that you think would be more marketable and bigger and more important for you?
Well, let's call a spade, man. I've been with this organization now for 8-9 years. I've helped grow this company, and this company has done a phenomenal job of growing me. It's been a phenomenal symbiotic relationship since ESPN Deportes days to MTV2 to Spike and now to Paramount and CMT simulcast, and I have such a great relationship with these guys, and they've done such great things for me. I take pride in being the Bellator champion. I never wanted to discredit what the Bellator Championship has meant to me and what the belts at my house meant to me. But you know, I wanted the rematch. You know, 10 days after Madison Square Garden, I ran 5 miles. I said, book the rematch. I was talking to the guys, and you know, the so-called champion was not ready. And you know, he was on maternity leave, and just so happens I adopted a child, and I moved all the way across the country, and I built a house, and I have a lot of stuff going on. We are professionals, and we are men, and it's time to step into the cage and put the belt on the line. And he wasn't willing to do that. So yeah, there is a little bit of distaste in my mouth, or a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth for that situation. But there are some big fights. Patricio Pitbull was calling me out on social media. I didn't respond because obviously I had this going on. The Paul Daly fight. I mean, there's some fights out there, but at the end of the day, a ton of respect for Scott Coker and what he has done for Strikeforce back in the day, and what he has done since day one, since he stepped foot into this Bellator realm. And let's be honest, I'll do what I'm told, and I will do it in a dominant fashion. So we'll see what happens. We'll have some conversations. We'll see what happens.
Congratulations, Michael. Very much the performance of the night. Well, I know they're still going on, but it was what we saw.
Thank you.
During a fighter's career, I mean, obviously one of the things you're very popular for with fans is this kind of old school mentality you've got when you step into the fighting arena. But tonight, perhaps, and during a fighter's career, we see shifts sometimes, paradigm shifts, where they develop the style they want. Is it fair to say tonight we saw that old school style from you, but you really used your fighting IQ?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a little bit of both. I think I wasn't having as much success as I wanted to on the feet, and I had an extreme amount of success in that first round on the ground, and it was easy for me. Not to say it was easy, not to discredit Goiti, but it was easy for me. There's not a man on this earth that can be underneath me and not get demolished. And I know that about myself because I've done it in the cage, I've done it in the gym, and just because he's finished 18 fights by armbar or rear naked choke or triangle, it did not deter me from getting back to my wrestling roots, realizing that I'm a dominant man on the ground and on the feet. But I knew that I was going to be able to take this fight to the ground, and I saw his tape. He has more success on, if he doesn't get a submission, he has more success on his feet than he does on the ground. And I thought the easiest path to dominance was going to be able to beat him up on the feet as much as I could, keep him at bay as long as I could so I can get the shot, and then rain down a firestorm of elbows.
And finally from me, how long did it take till after the fight, or maybe you thought about it during the fight, to think about your son?
Man, the funny thing was, you know, I mean, and luckily this affected me very well, but right before the fight, literally right before the referee said, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" there was a picture of Hap on my shoulders in the arena, and I got the biggest smile on my face, and it's an absolute amazing feeling now, not just fighting. When I got into this sport, I fought for myself and for my legacy and for my mom and dad who just pulled themselves up by their bootstraps for the whole 20-something years and gave me every opportunity that I possibly could. But now to have them, and now have a wife, and now have someone that literally is going to hang on my every breath for the rest of my life, and someone to lead and someone to love, it's absolutely the most ridiculous feeling I have ever felt in my entire life. My heart is literally bursting at the seams, and I cannot wait to get back and kiss his little cheeks. But at that moment, I smiled like crazy. I looked over at Bree. She wasn't looking at me. You know, she was in her tents, scared to death. My son's about to get into a fight in the cage. But I looked over at her, and it was amazing. And right after, it was. And the first thing I thought about was getting back home to him, and it's my life has a new purpose, and God has blessed me so much, and I'm just excited about life.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gareth. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Grandma.
Michael, congratulations. I got a live streaming, and a fan asked me if you're willing to move up to 170.
Yeah, I've said that I'm willing to move up to 170. You know, it's got to be the right fight. But I mean, yeah, I mean, we'll find out what California says after this. I think I was a little bit overweight for their weight check thing, so we'll see what happens. But man, I'm a big 155er. The only reason I can make 155 is that there's not a man alive that's more disciplined than I am. For 8 weeks, I forego every single thing that I want to, nutrition-wise, drinking-wise. And I put my body through a living hell on earth to make sure that I get my body fat down. I keep my lean muscle. I can push out the water at the end, and that's why I've always made 155, because I'm disciplined. If I wanted to enjoy my life, 170 would be a phenomenal weight class for me. So we will see. Obviously, like I said, man, I'm a company guy. I've always done what's best for myself, but also in relation to Bellator. And we'll see what happens. I'll talk to Scott, and we'll see. I definitely would entertain it, and there's some interesting fights at 170. So,
Just speaking of 170, just want to get your reaction to what happened to Rory and that leg kick and all that.
That was messed up, man. Gosh, I was back there. I was watching, and that swelling is a little bit scary. I don't know. I know he's on his way to the hospital. I don't know if it's a broken leg or, I mean, you're in like compartment syndrome zone looking at that, you know. So I hope he's okay. Hope everything's going good. But man, Lima, those two put on a phenomenal show, and those are two of the best welterweights on the planet that just slugged it out for us tonight. Put on a great show. I honestly didn't know who was going to win the fight going into it. I didn't know who was going to win the fight going into the fifth. Great fight, great show of heart by both guys. And just like Bellator always does, in Bellator fashion, put on phenomenal fights for the fans right here, kicking off on the Paramount Network.